Okay, we're back here with my 2005 Mazda 3, and just wanted to update you on where we're at this point. Now, we've already gotten everything moved over from the old motor that we're going to be using over here on this replacement engine, and we've also, at this point, we've put some valve cover gaskets, we've got some intake gaskets, injector O-rings, we've gotten a new rear seal, if you can see that back there. I've done another video on one of those. Let's see, we've got some other things we're going to do to as far as getting a new gasket on here. We don't reuse stuff like that. So the only thing that I have left to do to this engine is just to get the flywheel back on, and so I've got a video on that. We just use Loctite, and we get it tightened down to about 80 foot-pounds. And now, if you watch my videos, you notice I've got a lot of little tips and stuff if you keep up with them. Let's see if I can get focused in here. Okay, this is my transmission that I've been working on. Just got it over here, kind of hoisted up on the bench, and it's just easier while I've got this out that I've took and got my filter and stuff and my gasket done, and I've just used a fiber gasket on here, and I used a little bit of grease, and I'm gonna see how this does. And Loctited all my bolts back in. And while I was at it, we got some new CV axle seals for the output seal, and we got those on both sides. Now, before I stuck those in there, you'll notice that you see that lube kind of oozing out of there. I've lubed those all the way around before I ever put those in, and I'm just I use my assembly lube. This is what I use for a lot of stuff. This stuff is really sticky, and it works really good. If you don't put that on there, you put a new seal in, you're going to burn it up in no time. It's going to be leaking again. So make sure you put some transmission fluid or something on there. Make sure that you don't run those dry. Okay, so other than just cleaning it up a little bit, that's about all we've done here. Like I said, we've got the filter and everything on, and the new gasket. And now that I've got those CV axle seals in there, we'll be just taking and we'll get the flywheel on here, and we'll go ahead and start hooking this up to our engine here. So it's going along pretty smooth. Sure, a lot easier to do this stuff and change the filters and gaskets while you got these things out of here. Just makes life so much easier. And this thing was really gunked up. I know it still looks kind of dirty, but I actually had cleaned on this a little bit with brake cleaner and scraped on it. It was pretty gunky. I don't know if I'd already put another torque converter seal in, if I'd mentioned that, but we'd already gotten you can see right there, that's a brand new torque converter seal. Absolutely, if you take your transmission out, put one of those in there. Even like I said, if you take your CV axles out for whatever reason, put you some new seals. These things are only like $5 or $6 for these little seals, but they can really start leaking like crazy. and here's the old one here. And you can't really tell anything by looking at them. You know, really, they just leak. And this is the, you know, can't even focus into this. It's a 2007N or 207N. I know it won't focus into it, but as far as putting those seals in, I don't have any special tools. I like to use a little piece of wooden block, and I just tap it in with a hammer, and that's what I do like all of my seals. Because I mean, I have used some PVC pipe before to kind of knock them in, but it seems like I never have the right size, and I never can find it laying around. So I just pretty much put them all in using just a little wooden block. It seems to work really well. It doesn't damage anything. We're going to be putting some new motor mounts when we get this in, and I've already got those. I noticed that the passenger side mount and the driver's side were just completely gone, and I had done another video when I was taking these out, and I can show you. I mean, this just fell apart. This is the transmission mount, and I couldn't tell until I took it off of there, and then that thing just basically just fell apart. So I mean, that's all that's holding that side of your engine up, so that's kind of scary. There's just one bolt that goes into that, and that goes into this bracket right here. So you have these three bolting it down to the transmission, but you just have this one bolt right here that's holding that whole thing up. So yeah, if this thing, I guess it could potentially come out of there or something, and that could be really bad. It could do some damage. And here's the passenger side, and it's not any better. I mean, this I didn't take this apart. When I took this off of here, this stuff basically, I mean, I had to pry these tabs on this, but this thing basically just fell apart when I took it off of there. Once I got it loose, it just fell apart. So, and you couldn't tell this either. I could tell that it was wiggling, but I couldn't tell that it was broken until I got it off of there. So we'll be replacing those. The one that was in the center was actually good. Didn't have any damage. So yeah, now we're just, like I said, I'm gonna get this engine over here, and we're gonna get our transmission down, and we're gonna get the flywheel back on this thing, and we're gonna try to get these things hooked back up and start working on getting this thing in next. So we don't like much. I've got everything pretty much dressed up the way I need it. So we should be able to start putting things back together, and I shouldn't have really anything that I need to do to the engine or the transmission once I get it in there. So alright, well, like I said, I'm going to follow up once I get these together and start getting this back in the car. And thank y'all.